Welcome back, my beautiful family and friends, lovers of imperial stories. I have missed you all, missed all the experiences we've had together. It's been a rough ride as we're currently battling some technical issues, but trust me, we're getting everything back and running, so stick around. I need your support on YouTube now more than ever. Thank you especially for sticking around to this very moment. If you're hooked in and you're ready to enjoy this story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because tomorrow I will be giving you another story just as interesting as this one, and you don't want to miss it. Now, let's begin. She hadn't been touched in 213 days. No kiss, no explanation, just silence, until the morning she walked into her kitchen and found a wedding invitation. Her husband wasn't asking for a divorce. He was already marrying her best friend. Why did he do it? And what she found out next changed everything. The silk sheets were cold again. Emily lay still beneath them, her body curled inward like a question mark that never got an answer. The king-size bed felt like a continent now, each inch of distance between her and him 1,000 unspoken things. She reached out, not for him, but for the pillow where his scent used to linger. Vanilla, cedarwood, and the faintest hint of smoke. Now it smelled like nothing, just linen, just air. 7 months. 7 months of no kisses, no touch, no "I miss you" texts. 7 months since he had looked at her like she was anything more than the woman who signed papers and smiled for charity galas. She used to count the days. Now she counted the silences. "Mrs. Calderon," the voice echoed from the intercom near the walk-in closet. Her housekeeper, Mara, probably. "Your 10 a.m. appointment is here, Mr. Ellenson from the foundation." "Tell him I'll be down in 10, Emily said, her voice smooth, practiced, like marble over a crack. She pulled the duvet off and walked barefoot to the mirror. Her robe slipped down her shoulder. She caught a glimpse of herself, not ugly, not tired, just blank, like someone who had faded at the edges. She brushed her hair into place, applied the nude lipstick Daniel used to love, and wore the heels he'd bought on their last anniversary. A twisted kind of hope still beat in her chest. Maybe today would be different. Maybe he'd look at her. Maybe he'd want her. She didn't let herself cry anymore. The mansion walls didn't allow it. Daniel Calderon sat in the greenhouse, staring at a wilted orchid. It was the only place in the mansion that smelled alive, a tangle of greenery, humidity, and forgotten time. He came here every morning now, long before Emily woke up. She never asked why. That was part of the problem. His fingers traced the petals absently. Then he plucked one off. It fell on his palm like a soft accusation. 7 months. He hadn't touched her, not because he didn't want to. God, if she knew how badly he did. But because every time he looked at her, he saw the thing he couldn't say, the thing that would destroy her. He was a coward. But even cowards bleed. "Sir." Thomas, his assistant, stood awkwardly at the greenhouse door. "Your lawyer called. He said, it's time." Daniel didn't turn around. "Set the date." "Yes, sir." He waited until Thomas left, then whispered, "Forgive me." He didn't know if he meant Emily or himself. They crossed in the hallway later that morning, Emily in a pale blue blouse, Daniel in a tailored suit. She smiled softly. He nodded once, eyes unreadable. She opened her mouth to speak, closed it. So did he. The silence between them was not new, but today it was louder. In another part of town, Naomi bent over a cappuccino at their favorite cafe. She was scrolling through photos, her and Emily on vacation, laughter frozen in pixels. They used to be inseparable, but now Now her stomach twisted every time her phone buzzed with his name. Daniel, we need to talk. Today. She didn't reply, didn't know how, because no matter how this ended, someone was going to break. And deep down, she knew it would be the woman who once called her sister. 3 days after Daniel's greenhouse confession, Emily found the envelope. It wasn't hidden, no safe, no lockbox, no drawer, just left out on the marble kitchen island, like it didn't matter, like she didn't matter. Her name was printed in Daniel's distinct handwriting, neat, sharp, impersonal. She stared at it for a full minute before picking it up. Her heart already knew, but hope had a cruel way of whispering anyway. She slid her finger under the seal. The envelope tore with a quiet shh, like a secret trying to soothe her. Inside, legal language, court date, signatures, divorce papers. A breath caught in her throat. Her knees buckled slightly, but she didn't fall. She just floated, like her soul had stepped outside her body. No note, no explanation, not even a signature from Daniel. Just sterile ink and cold detachment. The mansion felt louder now. The ticking clock on the wall, the faint hum of the fridge, the distant chirp of birds outside. It all sounded like mockery. She clutched the envelope to her chest and walked slowly to the kitchen stool. Sat, stared blankly. It felt like being dropped into freezing water, her brain working, but her body refusing to swim. That night, she waited for him in the sitting room. The fire was lit, a flickering dance of orange and blue. She wore the silk robe he'd bought her 3 anniversaries ago, back when anniversaries still meant something. Her lips were painted in defiance, not beauty. She sat on the edge of the armchair, posture perfect, mask intact. Daniel entered precisely at 7:42. He paused when he saw her. "You read it," he said. So cold, so simple. "I read it," she replied, her voice steady but hollow. He didn't move closer. "That's all I get?" she asked. A bead of silence stretched between them like a blade. You deserve better," he finally said, looking past her toward the fire. Emily almost laughed. Bitter, dry. "Then why not give me the truth?" His jaw twitched. Some truths hurt more than silence. "No," she said now. "Silence kills. I asked you again and again, and you let me rot." Daniel closed his eyes. "You pushed me away for 7 months, Daniel. 7. I thought you were sick. I thought I was failing you. I begged you with my body, my eyes, my everything." "Stop," he said sharply, her voice cracking. "Then say it. Say you don't love me. Say she means more." He looked her dead in the eyes. "I can't say that." "Why not?" "Because I don't know if it's true." And with that he left. The fire crackled behind her, but she had never felt colder. The courier rang the doorbell 2 days later. Mara brought it in on a silver tray as if it were royal correspondence. Emily raised her eyebrow. She hadn't ordered anything. The envelope was ivory, embossed, elegant. She frowned, slid her finger under the flap, pulled out a card. A wedding invitation.
Gold script, glossy paper, her breath caught in her throat. She eyes scanned the names. Daniel Calderon and Naomi Elise Spencer. She blinked. Once, twice. The words didn't change. The date? Next Saturday. Her hands began to shake. Naomi, her best friend, her college roommate, the woman who cried on Emily's shoulder after every breakup, the woman who helped plan Emily's bridal shower, who held her bouquet, who toasted her forever. Her stomach lurched. She ran to the bathroom and vomited hard.
When she looked in the mirror, her mascara was smudged, but her eyes were clear, too clear, like glass that had cracked but hadn't shattered. Yet. That night, Mara found her curled on the floor, her back against the bathroom wall. Her hair was disheveled, her blouse torn at the collar. Her hands were red with nail marks where she dug too deep into her own skin, trying to feel something. Mrs. Calderon? No answer. Mara knelt slowly. Emily? She blinked, slow. They didn't even wait, she whispered. Was it going on the whole time? The housekeeper bit her lip. I don't know. I never saw anything. I shared my soul with her, Emily said. My husband, my secrets, my pain. And now she's wearing white with him? Her voice cracked at the end, fragile as glass. Then she laughed, a short, broken laugh. Maybe I was the mistress all along. Maybe I was the distraction. Mara shook her head. No, don't do that. But Emily was already spiraling. Do you know what it feels like to become invisible to someone who once worshipped you? The silence that followed was her answer. She went. She didn't know why. Closure? Masochism? Maybe she needed proof, needed to see it with her own eyes, so she could stop hoping. She wore black, not out of pettiness, but mourning. The venue was a garden. White chairs, red roses, a fountain murmuring nearby. Naomi stood beneath the arch, glowing, nervous, almost guilty? Daniel looked statuesque, silent, distant, as if this were a funeral. Emily walked in just as the music began. Every head turned. Gasps rippled like waves. Whispers spread like wildfire. Naomi's face turned white. Daniel's gaze locked on hers, and for a moment, he wasn't the groom. He was just Daniel, the man who used to trace her collarbone at sunrise and whisper things only lovers say. Now, he was a stranger, marrying her best friend. She took a seat in the very back. Her hands trembled in her lap. The priest began, "Dearly beloved." Emily stood. She didn't speak. She didn't shout. She simply left. Not fast, not slow, just gone. Because sometimes the only power left is the power to walk away. What would you do if the two people you trusted most betrayed you in the same breath? Would you fight or disappear? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear the heartbreak you've survived. Emily stood in the shower until the water turned cold. She didn't feel it. The steam had long faded, but her skin still stung, as if grief had seeped beneath her pores and was now trying to claw its way out. She pressed her palm against the glass door. It fogged under her touch. She looked at the blur of herself in the mirror, dripping, silent, blank. She didn't recognize the woman anymore.
Not the one who used to laugh loudly, who painted her nails burgundy and wore red lipstick just because she liked how it made her feel. That woman was somewhere buried. This one just wanted to survive the next 10 minutes. Naomi stared at her reflection in the bridal suite's mirror. Her new husband was outside greeting guests. Her dress was folded neatly in the corner. The ring on her finger, a perfect diamond, felt wrong. Not heavy, not light, just foreign. The mirror didn't lie. She was married now, to a man who didn't look at her the way he used to look at Emily. She remembered Emily's voice the night she introduced them. "He's everything. Even the way he looks at me makes me forget every scar I've ever had." Now Naomi had that look, and none of the warmth. The door creaked open. Daniel. He didn't smile, just stood in the doorway, watching her. Naomi forced a breath. "You could at least pretend to be happy." Daniel closed the door behind him. "I didn't marry you for happiness." She flinched. "Then why did you marry you?" He didn't answer. She blinked rapidly. "You said this was the right thing." "It was," he replied, but his voice didn't carry the conviction it needed. Naomi's hands trembled as she turned back to the mirror. "Then why do I feel like we buried something instead of starting something?" Emily didn't cry again. She didn't hide in her room or fall into bed with sleeping pills. She dressed. She straightened her spine. She even smiled when Mara brought her tea. Because she'd done the collapsing. Now came the rising.
She called a lawyer, a good one, the kind who didn't ask questions, just made things move. She called the foundation board, told them she'd be stepping down, not out. Said she wanted to start something new, something hers. She posted a picture on Instagram, her first in 6 months. Black turtleneck, red lips, staring directly into the camera. No caption. Just her. The comments flooded in within minutes. "Queen Erin, you're glowing, even in war. Whatever he lost, you just found." She didn't respond, but she let the words sit, like seeds in the soil of her soul. He saw the post. Daniel hadn't been on Instagram in weeks, but Naomi showed him, smugly, casually, as they sat on the hotel balcony. She's playing the martyr. It's smart. Get sympathy. Make you the villain. Daniel didn't answer, because Emily wasn't playing anything. That was just her, strong, quiet, burning. He turned away. Naomi sighed. "Are you even here?" "Trying," he murmured. But it wasn't. Not really. He was stuck in that memory. The last night Emily laughed. 6 months ago. A picnic at their beach house. She had wine on her lips and sunlight in her eyes. And he had already made the decision that would end them. He hadn't touched her since that night. Couldn't. He thought it would spare her, protect her from the truth. Instead, it broke everything. That evening, Mara brought Emily a tray of soup and herbal tea. She hesitated before leaving. "Can I say something?" she asked gently. Emily looked up. "Of course. You're stronger than either of them thought you'd be." Emily's eyes glinted, but she said nothing. Mara continued. "Men like him, they think silence is a kindness, but silence is just another kind of cruelty. And your friend, she thought your love was something she could just pick up and wear." A pause. "She doesn't look right in it." Emily's lip trembled. "Do I?" Mara walked over, placed a hand on hers. "You wore it like you were born for it." 2 weeks into the marriage, Naomi snapped. It started with a text. "You knew I loved him." No greeting, no punctuation, just pain. Emily saw it and didn't reply, not because she didn't feel anything, but because feeling was no longer a weakness she gave freely. The next day, Naomi showed up at her door. No announcement, no warning. Emily answered in silence. Naomi's eyes were red-shot. "I miss you," she whispered. Emily didn't move. "Do you miss the part of me?
You didn't destroy? Naomi's mouth quivered. I made a mistake. You made a choice. I thought he loved me, she said. Does he? Emily tilted her head. Naomi hesitated. That was her answer. I was dying inside, Naomi said softly, watching you get everything. Emily stared. You think I had everything? Naomi looked away. You never saw the 7 months I was untouched, unwanted, unspoken to. You envied a corpse. Naomi opened her mouth to speak. Emily closed the door. Gently. That night, Daniel sat on the edge of the hotel bed. The lamp glowed beside him. Naomi was asleep, or pretending to be. He pulled out a sheet of hotel stationery and wrote, Emily, I know I forfeited the right to speak to you, but silence has its own violence, and I'd used it too long. I didn't leave you because I stopped loving you. I left you because I found something in myself that I couldn't forgive. Something that if you knew it, you would have seen me differently. I thought I was protecting you, but I see now I was just hiding. She was never you, and I was never brave enough to stay. I'm sorry for everything. Daniel.
She shook her head. Do you think I loved you for your strength? I loved you for you. He sat back down, heavy. She turned away, tears now streaming. You let me believe I was abandoned. I never stopped watching you. That's worse. She sat by the fire, knees pulled to her chest. He remained across the room, staring into the flames. Eventually, she said, You could have died and I'd have had nothing. Not a goodbye, not the truth, just a question I'd carry for life. Daniel's voice was gravel. I didn't think I'd survive telling you. They sat in silence again. Then she whispered, Why did you marry her? He didn't speak. You owed me 1,000 things, she said, eyes wet. But that was a death sentence. Daniel finally looked up. She found the letter, the one I wrote for you. She read it, thought it meant it for her. Emily's breath hitched. I was going to send it to you. I just never did. And when she read it, she looked like she needed it. So you sacrificed me again. He bowed his head. She didn't sleep. When the sun rose, she stood by the window, arms crossed, heart bruised but beating. He joined her, silent. The snow was melting slowly outside. The trees glistened. I never got to say goodbye, she murmured. He looked at her. I don't want to say goodbye. You don't get to say that. I know. She stepped closer. You don't get to say anything until you know what you want, until you stop hiding behind guilt. I want to be forgiven. Then earn it. They stood in silence, but this time the silence wasn't empty. It was full, heavy, hopeful. The next morning, Emily was packing to leave when she found it. A wooden box, locked but not hidden, tucked in a drawer inside the guest room nightstand. Something about it stopped her. She lifted it gently, felt its weight, physical and emotional. No key. Out of impulse, she shook it. Clink! Nettle inside. She hesitated, then walked into the hallway. Daniel? He emerged from the study, eyes red but awake. She lifted the box slightly. What is this? He froze. For the first time in days, he looked genuinely unsure. I didn't think you'd find that. Emily A. raised an eyebrow. That's becoming a pattern. He exhaled. The key's in the back panel. Slide it left. She turned the box, slid the panel, A small silver key fell into her palm. She didn't move. "Do you want me to open it?" she asked. "No, but I think you should." So she did. Inside the box were 5 items: a folded letter, a Polaroid of them in Capri, wind in their hair, a copy of her foundation's first newsletter, a pressed flower, and the hospital ID bracelet. She stared, lifted the letter first. It was dated 8 months ago. "Emily, I don't know how to say this, so I'll start with the truth. I'm sick. A rare condition, inherited, undetected for years. My heart is failing slowly. They say I could have a decade or a year. There's no timeline, just questions. And I couldn't stand the idea of you waking up next to a countdown. I couldn't watch you start grieving while I'm still breathing. So I started pulling away, like a coward. You begged with your eyes. I answered with silence."
Because the pain of you loving me, while knowing I was slipping, that would have killed me faster than the diagnosis. I thought I was doing the right thing, but now I see it. I chose control over truth, and I lost you. I still sleep on the left side. I still drink your favorite coffee. I still wear the cologne you bought me. I still love you. And I'm sorry I didn't let you love me back. Daniel. She folded the letter slowly. Her hands were shaking. Daniel didn't speak. His eyes shimmered. "You were dying," she whispered. "I thought I was. You were scared. I was selfish." She sat on the edge of the couch. "Why didn't you tell me? I thought love should be easy, strong, bright. I didn't want you to watch me become less. You think I only wanted you whole?" Her voice cracked. "No," he said. "I think I was afraid that if you still loved me broken, I'd have to face how much I didn't love myself." Emily stood at the window that evening, staring out at the snow again. Daniel had retreated to the study. She didn't follow. Instead, she remembered a moment from before. A rooftop party. Emily in a silver dress. Daniel in black. Naomi by her side. Naomi leaned in, wine glass clinking. "Ever feel like some people don't have to try to be loved? They just exist, and the world bends." Emily blinked. "What do you mean?" Naomi smiled. "You don't see it, do you? You were born magnetic." Emily laughed it off. "You're drunk." But Naomi didn't laugh, just stared. "I'd kill to be seen the way he sees you." It hit Emily like ice. The look, the tone, the envy wrapped in flattery. Naomi hadn't fallen into Daniel's arms. She'd aimed. She didn't expect Naomi to call, but she did. The screen lit up with her name. Naomi Spencer Calderon. Emily stared for a full minute before answering. "I didn't think you'd pick up." "I almost didn't." "I heard you went to the estate." "I did." A pause. "Did he tell you?" "Yes." "About the condition, the pulling away, the cowardice." "And me?" Emily sighed. "That's what this is about, isn't it?" Naomi's voice cracked. "I never planned it. I never tried to take him." "Then why didn't you stop when he proposed?" "Because for once someone chose me, and it felt like revenge on the universe for never being enough." Emily's voice was ice. "So you used a man breaking down to build yourself up." Naomi sniffed. "He doesn't love me, you know." "I know." "He calls your name in his sleep."
Emily's heart stilled. Naomi exhaled. "I'm sorry." "No," Emily said gently. "You're just lost. Like he was. Like I was." A silence fell. Goodbye, Naomi. That night, Emily returned to the fire room. Daniel was already bitter, waiting. She sat beside him, and this time, closer. She placed the letter between them. "I'm not angry at the sickness. I'm angry at how small you thought I was." She looked at him. "You thought I couldn't hold your brokenness. But I married you, Daniel, not your health." He stared into the fire. "I thought love was about protecting you." "No," she said. "It's about choosing each other, even when it's dark." He nodded slowly. "Then I can ask something." She waited. "If I try to be honest now, every day, to let you in fully, would there still be something left to build?"
She sat on the couch, knees pulled up. He sat beside her, not asking permission. He grabbed the old throw blanket from the armrest and draped half over her legs, half over his. The silence was warm, comfortable. After a moment, she whispered, "I thought you'd find someone after me, but I never imagined it would be her." "I didn't either," he replied. "She always watched you." "I never watched her." Emily glanced at him. "Do you regret it?" "Yes, but not because of what it was, because of what it cost." "And what did it cost?" "You." Another pause. She looked at the fire. "I don't know if I can trust you again." "I wouldn't either," he said softly. She tilted her head. "But I'd like to earn it." That night, neither of them could sleep. She knocked on the study door. He was inside, reading. "I had a dream," she said, lingering in the doorway. "Good or bad?" "I don't know. You were laughing, and so was I, and I woke up crying." He set the book down. "Come in." She entered slowly, sat on the floor beside his chair. He reached down, brushing his fingers against hers just once. "I miss that version of us," she whispered, "the ones who didn't know how dark it would get." He looked at her. "I don't want to go back," he said. "Why?" "Because I think we can be more now." She closed her eyes. "I want to believe that. You don't have to. Not yet. But maybe someday?" He leaned his head against the chair. "I'll wait." The next day, they did something rare. They acted like the past didn't own them. They cooked together, danced in socks, watched an old movie that one she loved and he hated. He didn't complain. She leaned against his shoulder during the credits. He didn't move. When the movie ended, she didn't pull away. "I never stopped loving you," she said suddenly, "even when I hated you." He smiled, small and broken. I felt it, even in silence. They didn't kiss, but the moment was enough. That evening, they stood at the edge of the garden. She faced him. "When I leave tomorrow, what happens?" "That's up to you. And if I need time, I'll give it. And if I never come back?" He swallowed. "I'll still be here." She touched his hand. "I'm not promising forever." He nodded. "But I'm promising a beginning." His eyes glimmered. "That's more than I deserve." "No," she said, "it's exactly what we both do." They stood beneath the trees. Not whole, not healed, but real. They were packing up the estate to leave the next morning. Boxes were sealed, files signed, the past carefully folded into cardboard. Emily was in the study gathering old letters when she saw it.
An envelope tucked between two law books, not labeled, not hidden, just waiting. She opened it, curious. Inside was a photograph. Her, Aunt Naomi. College graduation, laughter in their faces, champagne and Aunt. But it wasn't the photo that stole her breath. It was the writing on the back. She never deserved her. Naomi. Her fingers trembled. She flipped through the rest of the envelope. More notes, printed emails, messages between Daniel and Naomi, dates, times, weeks before the divorce. One line stood out. If you're going to leave her, you owe her the truth. But if you can't say it, let me be the one who stays. Naomi. Her heart dropped. Naomi had been there before the end. Daniel had kept her close while Emily begged for scraps of connection. She stormed down the hallway, fire in her chest. He was folding a coat in the guest room. She threw the envelope onto the bed. He froze. Where did you get that? Why was it hidden? It wasn't. Don't, she snapped. Don't lie again. He stepped toward her. Let me explain. You told me she wasn't part of it, that it was after. You told me you were protecting me. I was. No, you were. You were covering your shame. He looked wounded. I didn't sleep with her until after, I swear it. But you did, emotionally, didn't you? While I sat in our bed praying for you to touch me, while I blamed myself. Silence. He didn't deny it. I confided in her. I cried to her about you. I thought she was the only one left, and the whole time she was preparing to replace me. Daniel closed his eyes. I didn't mean to hurt you like that. But you did, and you hid it. I took a step back, and now I wonder, every moment we shared this week, was it love or guilt? He flinched. I should have let you say goodbye in silence, because this feels worse than grief. This feels like humiliation. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. I told myself I wasn't choosing her. I told myself it was circumstance, that I was already gone, that I had already lost you. His voice cracked. But the truth is, I was weak, and I was lonely, and she gave me attention when I didn't deserve it. Emily's eyes filled. You could have come to me. I didn't believe I was worthy of you anymore. That's not your decision. Silence.
She sat on the couch, knees pulled up. He sat beside her, not asking permission. He grabbed the old throw blanket from the armrest and draped half over her legs, half over his. The silence was warm, comfortable. After a moment, she whispered, I thought you'd find someone after me, but I never imagined it would be her. I didn't either, he replied. She always watched you. I never watched her. Emily glanced at him. Do you regret it? Yes, but not because of what it was. Because of what it cost. And what did it cost? You. Another pause. She looked at the fire. I don't know if I can trust you again. I wouldn't either, he said softly. She tilted her head. But I'd like to earn it. That night, neither of them could sleep. She knocked on the study door. He was inside, reading. I had a dream, she said, lingering in the doorway. Good or bad? I don't know. You were laughing, and so was I, and I woke up crying. He set the book down. Come in. She entered slowly, sat on the floor beside his chair. He reached down, brushing his fingers against hers just once. I miss that version of us, she whispered, the ones who didn't know how dark it would get. He looked at her. I don't want to go back, he said. Why? Because I think we can be more now. She closed her eyes.
I want to believe that. You don't have to. Not yet. But maybe someday? He leaned his head against the chair. I'll wait. The next day, they did something rare. They acted like the past, didn't own them. They cooked together, danced in socks, watched an old movie that one she loved and he hated. He didn't complain. She leaned against his shoulder during the credits. He didn't move. When the movie ended, she didn't pull away. I never stopped loving you, she said suddenly, even when I hated you. He smiled, small and broken. I felt it, even in silence. They didn't kiss, but the moment was enough. That evening, they stood at the edge of the garden. She faced him. When I leave tomorrow, what happens? That's up to you. And if I need time, I'll give it. And if I never come back? He swallowed. I'll still be here. She touched his hand. I'm not promising forever. He nodded. But I'm promising a beginning. His eyes glimmered. That's more than I deserve. No, she said, it's exactly what we both do. They stood beneath the trees. Not whole, not healed, but real. They were packing up the estate to leave the next morning. Boxes were sealed, files signed, the past carefully folded into cardboard. Emily was in the study gathering old letters when she saw it. An envelope tucked between two law books, not labeled, not hidden, just waiting. She opened it, curious. Inside was a photograph. Her, Aunt Naomi. College graduation, laughter in their faces, champagne and aunt. But it wasn't the photo that stole her breath. It was the writing on the back. She never deserved her. Naomi. Her fingers trembled. She flipped through the rest of the envelope. More notes, printed emails, messages between Daniel and Naomi, dates, times, weeks before the divorce. One line stood out. If you're going to leave her, you owe her the truth. But if you can't say it, let me be the one who stays. Naomi. Her heart dropped. Naomi had been there before the end. Daniel had kept her close while Emily begged for scraps of connection. She stormed down the hallway, fire in her chest. He was folding a coat in the guest room. She threw the envelope onto the bed. He froze. Where did you get that? Why was it hidden? It wasn't. Don't, she snapped. Don't lie again. He stepped toward her. Let me explain. You told me she wasn't part of it, that it was after. You told me you were protecting me. I was. No, you were. You were covering your shame. He looked wounded. I didn't sleep with her until after, I swear it. But you did, emotionally, didn't you? While I sat in our bed praying for you to touch me, while I blamed myself. Silence. He didn't deny it. I confided in her. I cried to her about you. I thought she was the only one left, and the whole time she was preparing to replace me. Daniel closed his eyes. I didn't mean to hurt you like that. But you did, and you hid it. I took a step back, and now I wonder, every moment we shared this week, was it love or guilt? He flinched. I should have let you say goodbye in silence, because this feels worse than grief. This feels like humiliation. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. I told myself I wasn't choosing her. I told myself it was circumstance, that I was already gone, that I had already lost you. His voice cracked. But the truth is, I was weak, and I was lonely, and she gave me attention when I didn't deserve it. Emily's eyes filled. You could have come to me. I didn't believe I was worthy of you anymore. That's not your decision. Silence.
She looked away, then whispered, "You don't get to rewrite the past because you finally feel ready to be honest." He stood. "Then what do I get?" She turned back, tears falling. "You get to live with the fact that you broke something that could have survived everything if you just told the truth when it mattered." She packed in silence. He didn't follow her. She left that night. No firelight, no coffee, no music, just a car, a suitcase, and the ache of something almost healed, tearing wide open again. The city lights didn't comfort her like they used to. Emily sat in her apartment, not the mansion, not the estate, just hers, quiet, smaller, honest. Rain danced against the windows, but she didn't move to close them. She welcomed the sound. It filled the spaces between her thoughts. The letter Daniel had written was still in her bag, crumpled now, not because she didn't care, but because she cared too much. She placed it on the coffee table beside her. Did she want this? Or had she simply grown addicted to trying to fix what someone else had broken? Her fingers grazed a photo on the shelf, a younger version of herself, bright-eyed, sun-kissed, wild with dreams. Who was that girl? She wasn't sure, but she missed her. Her phone buzzed. She didn't reach for it. Instead, she poured herself a glass of wine, red, dry, the kind Daniel hated. She turned on music, something soft, acoustic, and then she cried. Not loud, not broken, but quiet, exhausted, done. She wasn't mourning Daniel anymore. She was mourning herself. The house was empty again. Daniel sat in the fire room, watching the embers die. No music played, no laughter filled the space, just the smell of smoke and memory. He picked up the record sleeve she left behind, Emily's Mix. He turned it over in his hands. They say grief feels like drowning, but guilt? Guilt feels like standing on dry land, watching someone you love go under and choosing not to swim. He walked into the study, opened the drawer he hadn't touched in months. Inside, the first ring box, the one he never gave her, back when he planned to propose again, not for drama, but for renewal. He didn't know if she would have said yes. He didn't know if she ever could again. He set the ring box on the windowsill, walked away, and for once didn't look back. It arrived 2 days later, a pale envelope, hand-addressed, no return address. Emily hesitated, then opened it. Emily, I didn't deserve your kindness or your silence or the years you gave me. You were always the sun, and I lived in the shade of your light. I told myself I was surviving, but the truth is, I wanted what you had, and I took it the moment it stumbled. He never loved me, not once, and I don't blame him, because everything about the way he looked at you made me feel invisible. I'm leaving the city. I won't return. I won't ask for forgiveness, but I needed to say it. You were always more than enough. I was just too bitter to see it. Emily folded the letter, set it beside Daniel's. 2 wounds, 2 apologies. Neither could heal her completely. Only she could do that. That night she dreamt of the orchard again, their wedding day. But it wasn't as it was. It was stripped, minimal, just them. No guests, no music, no dress. Just Daniel and her, standing beneath a tree, sunlight in their eyes. You look sad, Dream Daniel said. I'm scared. Of what? Of that I'll never be whole again.
He stepped forward. You don't have to be. She woke up before he touched her hand, and for the first time in weeks, her heart wasn't racing. It was ready. She didn't call first. She just went. To the old apartment, the one he hadn't stayed in for years, but still kept. She knocked. It took a minute. When the door opened, he stood there, barefoot, confused, breath caught. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. Neither did she. She just reached into her coat pocket, pulled out the ring box he left on the windowsill. I don't want this, she said. His throat popped. I want you, but only if you come as you are now. No lies, no stories, no silence. He nodded, eyes brimming. I can do that. No trying to fix it, no guilt, just love me like this, messy, scared, holy some places, hollow in others. Daniel took a step forward. He didn't kiss her. He held her, tightly, like he'd never let go again. And this time, he wouldn't. The bed wasn't cold anymore. Emily stirred slowly, wrapped in linen and light. The sunlight slid across the hardwood floors, warming everything it touched. She turned, half asleep, and found Daniel already awake beside her, book in hand, glasses fogged from his breath. She smiled. 3 months. 3 months since the doorstep, since she asked him not for promises, but for presents. And every day since, he had shown up. Not perfectly, but fully. Good morning, he whispered, voice low. She stretched. How long have you been awake? Long enough to memorize your snore.
She narrowed her eyes. I don't snore. You purr. Loudly. She smacked him with a pillow. He caught it. They laughed. And just like that, the day began. Their apartment wasn't huge. No mansion, no estate, no long hallways to get lost in. Just 2 rooms, warm wood, an old record player, and a kitchen too small for dancing. But they danced anyway. Daniel cooked most mornings. Emily handled the dinner. They fought over laundry once and laughed halfway through it. They kept a shared journal on the kitchen counter. Each day, one of them would write something, a memory, a truth, a confession. No rules, no expectations. One morning, Daniel wrote, You still take my breath away, even when you're mad at me. One night, Emily scribbled back, I'm not mad, I'm scared, and maybe that's okay. They didn't hide anymore. Not from the bad days, not from each other. The Calderon Foundation's charity gala was coming up. Emily had declined to attend the last 2, but this time she said yes. She walked in wearing a navy dress that shimmered like night, her hair pulled back, a single gold chain at her collarbone. Daniel walked beside her, not in front, not behind. When they entered the ballroom, people turned. Whispers, stares, speculation. She didn't flinch, because this time she wasn't showing up to prove anything. She was showing up as herself. Midway through the night, someone approached her, a reporter, cautious. Mrs. Calderon, if you don't mind, many were surprised to see you back, together, after everything. Emily smiled, polite. Love isn't about what survives the public. It's about what survives the private. The woman blinked, nodded. She turned back to Daniel. He took her hand beneath the table. Squeezed once. Still here. Some days Daniel's chest tightened unexpectedly. He had learned how to manage it, the medication, the breathing, the stretching.
But one morning, he woke with pressure beneath his ribs. Emily saw it in his eyes before he said a word. She said to sit down. He didn't argue. She brought him water, his pills, sat beside him. "Does it hurt?" He shook his head. Not pain, but just pressure. She placed her palm over his heart, felt it, steady. She said, "I'm not going to run." He looked at her. "I wouldn't blame you." She replied, "I would, because I'm not here out of guilt, Daniel. I'm here out of choice." He closed his eyes. "Then I'll stay alive as long as I can, for as long as you'll have me." She smiled. "Forever sounds fine." Weeks later, a package arrived at the door. No sender. Inside was a small wooden box, similar to Daniel's. A note rested on top. "You don't have to open this, but if you do, I hope it reminds you. Not all broken friendships end in hatred. Some just end in growth." By Naomi. Inside the box, a photo of the three of them years ago. A dried flower from their first college road trip. A bracelet Emily had gifted after her first breakup. A burned CD labeled "Loyalty Isn't Silent." She didn't cry. She smiled, softly, sadly, then closed the box and placed it on a shelf. Sometimes closure didn't need conversation. Sometimes it just needed peace. It was their first winter back in the city. Daniel lit the fireplace. Emily sat curled on the couch, a blanket over her knees. The flames danced. The heat warmed her toes. He handed her a cup of cocoa. She took a sip, then looked at him. "Do you remember our last winter like this?" He nodded. "I couldn't look at you, couldn't touch you. And now? Tactile as hell." She laughed, then turned serious. "Do you ever think about what we lost?" "All the time." "And?" "I think we found something better." She nodded. "Not perfect?" "No," he agreed, "but permanent." Later that night, she wrote in the journal. Not for him, for herself. "Dear me, you survived heartbreak. Twice. You loved someone who broke you, and you still found your way back to yourself. You forgave, but more importantly, you remembered your worth. You didn't come back because you needed him. You came back because you chose him. And more than that, you chose you. This is your redemption story, and it's still being written." She closed the journal, turned off the lamp, crawled into bed. Daniel rolled toward her in his sleep, instinctively placing his hand on her hip. She didn't move, just whispered into the darkness, "I'm home." 1 year later, a child's laugh echoed down the grocery aisle. Emily turned, startled, then smiled. A little girl had latched onto Daniel's cart, giggling. "Daddy?" Daniel froze. The girl looked up, realized he wasn't her father, giggled again. "Oops!" Her real father appeared, apologizing. Daniel smiled, no harm. Emily watched the entire thing unfold. When the child skipped away, Daniel turned to her, eyes full, silent. Emily stepped closer. "Are you okay?" He nodded, then whispered, "One day." She took his hand, "Maybe sooner than you think." That night, they sat on the balcony. City below, stars above. No words, just the comfort of someone who left, came back, and stayed. Emily leaned into Daniel's chest. He kissed her forehead. And for the first time since everything broke, nothing needed fixing. It was already whole.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as can ever imagine, so do check it out. Do not forget to check Imperial Stories daily, like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you. See you tomorrow.